The honourable member for Kitchener South Hespeler.
Monsieur le Président, je suis heureux de m'élever en cette Chambre aujourd'hui. J'appuie le projet de loi C100.
Bravo.
Implementing legislation for the Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement. Mr. Speaker, not that long ago, our workers and our businesses were in a state of economic insecurity. The U.S. President had demanded a renegotiation of NAFTA, which has guided our shared North American economy for 25 years. In response to that challenge, our government rose to the task. We met it head on, and it brings me great pleasure to say that we have been successful. We are now in a place where we have secured our access to the U.S. market and have secured stability for Canadians. We have projected the economic relationship that Canada, Mexico, and the United States have built together. It is hard to overestimate the importance of this economic relationship to Canadians. In 2017, trade between our countries exceeded $1 trillion, more than the threefold increase since 1994 when NAFTA was born. The North American Free Trade Zone is the biggest economic region in the world, encompassing a $22 trillion regional market of more than 480 million consumers. Additionally, with CETA and the CPTPP, we have now secured markets combined total of 1.5 billion consumers. Not only have our renegotiations secured our access to this market, but the new NAFTA will reinforce these strong economic ties and support economic opportunities. Our achievements have brought back predictability and stability to the economic relationships between Canada, U.S., and Mexico. This modern trilateral agreement turns the page and focuses on what makes our economic relationship so successful: stability, economic integration, and rules that work for our businesses and our workers. From the start of the negotiations, Canada had three primary objectives. The first was to preserve important NAFTA provisions and market access to U.S. and Mexico. The second was to modernize and improve the agreement where possible. And the third was to reinforce the security and stability of our market access into U.S. and Mexico for Canadian businesses. Mr. Speaker, we have achieved those objectives. First and foremost, the new agreement preserves Canada's market access into the United States and Mexico, securing our most important trading partnership. Canada's preferential access to these markets is vital to the continuing prosperity of Canadian workers whose livelihood relies on trade. As two of Canada's largest trading partners, it was a priority for our government to ensure that modernizing NAFTA would not only allow for any disruption of North American integrated supply chain. We understand how vital this is to Canadian companies and to exporters. As an annual average, from 2015 to 2017, Canada exported more than $355 billion worth of goods to the United States, Canada's top export market. For the same time period, Canada exported an annual average of $12.4 billion worth of goods to Mexico, Canada's fifth largest export market. The CUSMA ensures continued preferential access to these key export destinations. The new NAFTA preserves our market access. This means that duty-free access for all non-agricultural goods from NAFTA will be maintained. For agricultural goods, Canadian exports will also continue to benefit from duty-free access for nearly 89% of U.S. agricultural tariffs line and 91% of Mexican tariff lines. This is a big deal for Canadian exporters and a big deal for Canadian farmers. Maintaining these tariff outcomes provide Canadians with an advantage over those countries without preferential trade agreements with the United States and Mexico. It also ensures predictability and continued secure market access for Canadian exporters to our largest trading partner. Other key elements of NAFTA are also preserved, including Chapter 19 and a state-to-state dispute settlement and cultural exemption and temporary entry for business persons. The new agreement also creates new opportunities for Canadian. It opens new market access opportunities in the U.S. markets and improves existing market access. It has new customs and trade facilitation measures that will reduce red tape and make it easier for companies to move goods across our border, including by eliminating paper process and providing a single portal for trade to submit most important documents electronically. This, Mr. Speaker, will make it fast and efficient in keeping up with a fast-paced industry in the 21st century. The agreement includes a new standalone chapter on rules of origin and origin procedures for textiles and apparel goods that will support Canada's textile and apparel sector. The new NAFTA enhances regulatory transparency and predictability, which will provide added assurance for exporters and their goods will make it to market and not be delayed by unjustified or unclear measures at the border. The new NAFTA also ensures Canada's agricultural and processed food exports can rely on sanitary measures that are risk-based and that increase predictability of market access so that products make it to market in a reasonable amount of time. In addition, the Section 232 side letter on auto and auto parts provides added security and stability for Canadians. Automotive parts and companies who export to the U.S. market and will reaffirm Canada's attractiveness as an investment destination for automotive and parts manufacturers. Mr. Speaker, I want to speak a little bit about the auto sector now. I want to flip to that. In this new NAFTA agreement, we made key changes, and one was the automakers. The parts for automakers used to be at 62.5% of North American parts. The new NAFTA agreement now raises that to 75% by 2023. This will increase North American parts made, and it will ensure that we increase and stabilize the auto sector. Also, Mr. Speaker, another added to this new NAFTA deal on auto is that wages are at least $16 an hour, which will help keep jobs in Canada instead of what we've seen that jobs went to Mexico. So this increase in wages and stability in wages will ensure that we keep jobs here. And Mr. Speaker, I want to talk about Toyota and my riding. Toyota Canada will now produce the Lexus NX crossover, and it will be selling the RX Sport Utility in 2022. Up until now, these two vehicles have only been made in Japan, so this will be the first time that these two new vehicles, these two lines will be made the first time here in Canada. So we're securing jobs here in Canada, particularly in and around my region of Kitchener South Hespeler. Also, Mr. Speaker, I want to also mention that the federal government last year invested $110 million to support 8,000 jobs in southwestern Ontario, and that will help create an additional 450 new jobs in the auto sector. This is a progressive agreement that meets the needs of the 21st century, including bringing obligations on labor and environmental directly into the agreement and subjecting them to dispute settlement. Mr. Speaker, the new NAFTA preserves key elements of the North American trading relationship, allowing our continued regional prosperity and stability. It reinforces the strong economic ties between Canada, Mexico, and the United States, while also recognizing the importance of progressive and inclusive trade, including key outcomes in areas such as labor and environment. This modernizing agreement is good for Canadian workers, good for Canadian businesses, and Mr. Speaker, we have faced up to the largest challenge in U.S.-Canada relations in decades, and we have achieved achievements and outcomes that benefit us all. Mr. Speaker, this is a great achievement for Canada. This is a great trade agreement. It modernizes it in the 21st century, and I'm happy to support this, Mr. Speaker.
Very good. Bravo, Marwan.